Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Theories and Thoughts Podcast, episode 33, with your hostess, Anya and
Fancy.
how y'all doing this week? Oh my God,
Day.
Fancy. Let me tell you what happened to me today. Okay. While I was sitting at my dining room table, and I started hearing something knocking, right? And I was like, what the hell is this? It was something in my closet outside on the patio.
So did you find out what it
I
was and
called animal
exactly?
control. They came and got it. It was a cat.
Oh, okay.
Girl, I was like, what the hell is this? What the I was so I was so scared. I wasn't even around for when they got the thing out of there. I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Now, I know one time I had a armadillo that would come dig like holes along the side of the house I was saying. This was years ago.
Oh,
And it
no.
would just like it must have been running into the door. You talk about somebody like especially because I was about 19, my first apartment. And I was like, oh my God, that was the creepiest thing to me. Hey Sharona, hey Brandy.
Hey, Brandon,
They were
hey, Corona. Right. And that was what happened. So I was like, the hell is going on? Me all scared. Then the animal control people came, and I'm just saying that. He texted me. Sorry. I am scary. So I tell y'all, I need a husband. I really do. I need one. I need two. Y'all got some for me? Cause who ain't gonna be out here going find stuff is me. But anyway, moving along. Our first where did my story go? Oh, there it is. Our first news story tonight is about Torian. You know how to say her name?
no, I don't. And I'm sorry. Actually, I realized how you put it on the sheet. That's not her full name. People were initially just addressing her as Toyin, but no, I'm sorry, because I'm at the same time. I just looked at what you were doing, but
Mhm.
I was trying to do my live watch party as well. Um, but we can discuss the story, of course, because they should kind of know. But I'm trying to find her name. Her full name.
Her full name? Okay. Okay.
I mean, because that's what I'm saying. Like her name actually doesn't begin with Toyin. Toyin was a part of her name. So when I was seeing a post, like the news stories originally, they were just like referring to her as Toyin. It's Aluwatoyin Salu. And of course, I'm probably saying that incorrectly. I hate to dishonor her in that way, but I don't know how to correctly say that. I'm sorry.
So we apologize. Anybody who knows how to pronounce that, just know that we're not of the native tongue and we don't know how to pronounce it. She was 19 years old. She was found dead after a week of being missing. She was found after tweets about being sexually assaulted by a man who had given her a ride to retrieve her belongings from a church that she had sought shelter from. Those who don't know, she was a Black Lives Matter activist. So that's why it was just so weird that all of a sudden she ended up dead. There is no leads far as I seen at this time, but we did want to speak on her. Go ahead, Fancy.
Now, this wasn't a news story. Again, this was a post because, like I said, I follow. I see a lot of news through the post, and then I might actually click on it. But this was Instagram post, so I couldn't click on it. But one of the posts I saw actually had a black man pictured. Like, is I don't know if they've arrested him or not. And
Hmm.
even the fact that I keep messing up her name kind of means I can't search it as well. But if you all happen to know anything about that, y'all can leave it in the comments as well. Because I did, I know they said several times that it was a black man, but one post actually had like something like a mugshot or something of the person. Because she did identify the man, right? To them.
I think so on online, yes. And that's why a lot of people were saying in her tweets, that's why a lot of people were saying, Black men, you have to take care of us Black women. Just like you want us to shield you and be there for you and protect you, we need that from you. Actually, we need you to protect us. We need that comfort. Why are you out here sexually assaulting this Black queen like that? That is just disturbing. That's disturbing. Do you have anything else on that one?
No, that was it. Well, I will say this. She seemed like she had a strong spirit.
Yeah.
I watched a clip of her speaking, and she was very passionate, articulate, but also just, I think she represented a lot of the youth nowadays. Just she represented them well, in my opinion. So
And
I think that was, a loss really to our community. And then the fact that it happened possibly with someone from our community makes it really hurt even more.
19. So we salute you, Queen, and our condolences to our family. On to some more just devastating news. He has been taken into custody. Okay, cool. Thank you, Vicky. Some other news. Black people been just found hanging. I think I found 1, 2, 3. I think I found all five. All five. One is a Hispanic man. Well, he's not Black, but he's Hispanic. Yesterday in Houston, his family did say that he was suicidal. But why would he be? Why would he just hang himself? Like, I just feel like people wouldn't pick that method to kill themselves. However, a little while ago, there was a bunch of youth taking that method to kill themselves. So I don't know. His family, I don't think is thinking it's a homicide, but I think it is. Just how I feel. Los Angeles, Robert Fuller at the age of 24. San Bernardino County, Malcolm Harshit at the age of 38. Now, they had ruled Malcolm to be a suicide. And I seen someone post the other day that was like, "Dear cops, Black people will not commit suicide by hanging outside on a tree." And I'm gonna go ahead and agree with that. So I think those have been Roberts and Malcolm's have been reopened. In Johannesburg, South Africa, I'm gonna jack up her name, so I'm gonna say Miss Poole, at the age of 28, was 8 months pregnant, and she was killed. We don't know for a fact if that was race related, because in the news story that I did read, it did say that she was going to meet her boyfriend. So I don't know what that was about. Maybe on her way, it could be anything. And in Manhattan, Dominique Alexander at the age of 27. So
was Dominique a man?
Yes.
Okay. I hadn't three of those names I hadn't heard, but I did see the woman as well, like a post about her, but again, it was Instagram post. I really couldn't go and look further into it. But I kind of think that, and just my opinion, as I'm kind of starting to see, because that's one reason why I didn't initially share anything about Robert Fuller, is I think they're kind of pressing that whole we think it's suicide thing, even with the family saying that. I don't know. Of course, we know our loved ones better than a lot of people would, but that just doesn't really seem like how a lot of people normally seem like they commit suicide when they're in prison. I think even when you mentioned that about the youth, then okay, because that's a means that you have to, and I meant to say hanging, because it's a way that they could get it done. You have access to sheets or whatever. But in today's world, I'm just like, this is the best. I just don't totally believe this. So I feel like all of them are suspect, in my opinion.
Right. No, that wasn't Robert Fuller's family. That was the Hispanic man yesterday in Houston. His family say he was suicidal.
No, I was gonna say, like, when I first began to see the Robert Fuller headlines like on Twitter, and they were saying how, you know, people were like, oh, don't jump to conclusions just yet. And so I didn't want to jump to conclusions when I first saw that one, because that was the first one that I saw last week. And then, you know, I started seeing more, but it just began to make me think, because I think even I don't think it's his family, but maybe someone else. I saw a headline where they were kind of like, well, the family isn't necessarily thinking that, but I mean, my point is, I just don't necessarily think that all the families don't think that that's kind of odd, you know?
Right. I agree with you. Most Black people wouldn't kill themselves by hanging. I don't think, because like you say, in prison or kids, because that's what they have there. Hanging by a tree outside a damn courthouse? Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. And there have so many people out here that's hating. And somebody brought up today on my Facebook, and they asked, whenever, you know, we kind of got in a discussion where what do Hispanics tend to think that they are, you know, say that they are? Well, do they generally go more Black or white? And I think Puerto Ricans and people like that's from the islands tend to say, you know, kind of take on the Black culture, where Mexicans and Spaniards, I think that they tend to a lot of times, you know, go for white. They're like they want to be white or what have you. So, but people see them as Hispanic, and if they see them as Hispanic, they're gonna try to get them. All I'm saying is, please be careful. Be aware of your surroundings. I keep a box cutter in my purse. I keep a knife in my car, and I am learning how to shoot you properly. So don't come for me in mine. Okay? All right. Anything else, Fancy?
No, y'all have been trying to start my watch party since forever. It just ain't, like, I don't even know. But no, no, nothing pertaining to that.
All right. On to the next story. OSU, University of that's Oklahoma State University, Ohio State University. The coach had a shirt on that had OAN on it, One American News Network, which is a far right cable channel founded by Robert Herring Sr. And owned by Herring Networks, launched on July 4th, 2013. The network is headquartered in San Diego, California, and operates news bureaus in Washington, D.C. and New York City. Trump is known to cite them, and they support him. At first, I was like, it's just a shirt, but then I was like, you are wearing it boldly. You're wearing it proudly. It's like you representing them. And as the Mr. Hubbard Shava, tonight we have a lot of African names, and I'm sorry, y'all. I just messing it up. Shava Hubbard. He's the what?
I have been pronouncing it with a longer U, but I don't know either, because y'all know I don't really watch sports. But I thought it was Chuba, but I honestly do not know. So
Chuba Hubbard, that's what we're gonna go with. He stated on his Twitter, "I will not stand for this. This is completely insensitive to everything going on in society, and it's unacceptable. I will not be doing anything with it's Oklahoma. Sorry, Oklahoma State State until things change." Amen. Obangamega. Sorry, y'all. Another player stood with him, and Justice Hill, a former player that's now playing pro football, also stands with him. And he says that there needs to be major changes in that football program. How do you feel about that, Fancy? Is it just a shirt or?
No, I don't think it's just a shirt. And I love the fact that he stood up Not to mention, the fact that he was like the fastest or had the most rushing yards or something last year. So that he's well known. I think that was like a good example. And then what more so kind of shocked me with that story, when I read that story, I ended up like reading another story that actually took place with the Crimson football team. That's in Alabama. I do know that, but I don't know the exact name of the school. But one of their assistant football coaches just last week actually made a racial slur, and I was looking at how those players were like, oh, well, we get it. We realize, we have a long way to go. He really didn't mean any harm. He doesn't know, he spoke with us. And what I really wanted to take the time to do this before we started this show was like to see, hey Lena, how like if it was really possible to see where those other players were from. Because what I looked at with Hubbard is the fact that he's from Canada, and then I don't know if all those players that were speaking on Coach Sweeney's behalf were actually from the South, but it again made me kind of look at like the difference between people that's from the North and people that's from the South, because they were a lot more accepting, seemed like a lot more tolerant to a lot of things. But I mean, that's in us, we're both from the South, so I think that as well. But I was just I thought that was like such a dynamic, because once Hubbard spoke out, then we saw other people also support him. So I wonder, like now, like last week, if someone from the Crimson team maybe would have said, hey, no, that's really not cool. If other players would have, shown solidarity with him. But I guess we'll never know. But I think also they might also should be looking at that situation. Like, don't be silent when, people are mistreating you or disrespecting you or your race or whatever the case may be, because we don't normally do that. And I just think that it's not just the shirt, what you're wearing. Like I just said last week, your silence speaks for whatever basically that you're standing for. So even just to wear the shirt was pretty disrespectful, because also that means that if you're watching that news, then it means that that's what you're taking in, that's a big part of how you perceive things, people in life. So I think it's more than the shirt.
I agree. It's more than a shirt. He just probably just had it on. I think it was intentionally. But as Hubbard said, it was, it's insensitive to what's going on now. And even if if that's your thing, you being extra insensitive to your Black players. And
exactly.
look like he's one of the major key players on that team. So him speaking out should have sparked other people to speak out and say different things about what's going on there. And apparently there's a lot that needs to be changed around there, because they both were like, there's some major changes that need to be done.
Yeah.
I seen a player is leaving Vanderbilt and going to Alcorn next year in the fall, and he was he was like number 3 on the squad on that team. So things are changing. People are not liking things, and they see the value in, going to other things. And I can't wait to discuss that next week, buying Black and, the Black culture and different things like that.
And I just want to add to that, when you said see the value in things, but also like we're seeing the value in us. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. That player had to have understood, like, hey, you know what I mean? I got some clout here. I have some room to say something. You all need me. Like, my opinions or whatever the case may be, are important. They should be taken into consideration before you make a move like that, because again, it was like I think really insensitive to the team, especially knowing that that you have Black players on your team. You're going to work with them, you're going to want to use them when it benefits you. You're going to want them to help you make all that money. So why not think about what might be important to them right now? So yeah, I agree with you there. And just before I go into our sponsor for the evening, do you know have you heard back from Brandon?
I just texted him.
Okay. All right.
Emailed him. That's what I was doing. That's what I was sitting here doing.
Okay. Well, our first sponsor for this evening is Hustle Right Publication. Hustle Right Publication offers independent publishing, editing, ghostwriting, coaching, and webinars. Designed with the author in mind, all products and services are provided with the intent to encourage, teach, and assist authors to get their stories out and learn to leverage their book to generate multiple streams of income. You can get 20% off your webinar today by visiting hustlerightpublication.com and using code SWAG, that's SWAG, at checkout. And I have that on the screen for you all as well. And her website is www.hustlepublication.com. And her Instagram is hustle right, WRITE publication. So HUSLT. Look, girl, where am I at?
No, you don't have to just Hustle Right Publications, right with a W.
Okay, thank you. I do apologize about that, but of course, we do always have the links here, and yeah. So now to go on and bring Brandon in, who is our guest for the evening.
Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
I was like, where you at? You emailing me?
The times you mess up with the time change. Who am I all supposed to tag when I post this flyer? Let people know I'm on.
Swagger.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Are we live right now?
Yes.
Oh,
Hey, Brandon. Okay. It's fine though, you've been with in the publication before, so some people may be like you're returning. I'm trying to fix my screen here.
I'm just honored to be here with the Black Girl Magic. Okay, it's always an honor to be in the presence of amazing Black women. So I just feel like I just want to try to sprinkle the Black Girl Magic on me so that I can go off and try to do great things.
Yeah, let's check you out. Well, Brandon, can you tell our audience who you are? We like to let you all introduce yourselves.
Yes.
Brandon Frame, founder of The Black Man Can. I believe that ideas are spiritual children seated by God inside of us, and He places the people around us and the tools around us so that we can manifest those things into reality. And I am just a living testament of Him blessing me with the idea and in placing the tools and people around me to manifest that into reality so that I could be a vessel for His work.
Oh, well, that's great. I hit a fancy one day. I was on your page. I'm always on there. Let me just always on there. And I hit a fancy. I was like, oh my God, we got to get the guy for Black Bag Cake. She was like, Anya, we've had him. I was like, so that means that we can't? She was like, no, we can't. I was like, okay, great. I wanted to give you your flowers now, and I wanted to do this right before Father's Day because so many times we don't celebrate the Black man. So many times, especially for Father's Day, we always, not we, because I don't. A lot of women are like, well, I'm a father and da, da, da. So thank you for this platform, King, because it's needed and it's necessary and it's just so honorable to me. And Fancy's not in agreement because we need that. We need to see those positive images to show other people, no, that's the narrative that people are trying to make it seem is not really what it is. So thank you.
I thank you for that. I appreciate the positive words, the flowers. It definitely warms my heart, and it really is. It serves as fuel to keep going. So I thank you.
So was there something that I know you said an idea? So was there something that sparked that idea? Was it something that you just said? Or one day you just said, I'm just gonna put this together?
One quote I live by is once you make an observation, you have an obligation. And so I made an observation that Black men and boys need to see positive images of themselves, need to have their stories told. And so therefore I had an obligation to create it. And 10 years ago, The Black Man Can was birthed as a blog. And over time, it has grown into a conscious social community and award-winning nonprofit that amplifies and creates stories of what Black men and boys can do.
So do you accept submissions, or how does that work? When you
Yeah, we take submissions. We go out and find photos and images and stories. So it's a collection of everything. Just really just making sure we show and tell, who we are and what we're accomplishing, and that, we are not monolithic, and that, that's kind of what it's about. And I'm just honored to, try to lead that charge and lead those efforts and connect the Islands of Success. I think what's really important and powerful is that the Black Man Can has been able to connect the islands of success so that we can create collective and sustainable change. I think a lot of times as Black men and Black women, sometimes when you're working on stuff and you're doing stuff, you feel like you're working in silos, or you're on your own. You're the only one thinking this way, that you're the only one doing certain things. And then when you can have something that's a connector of people, so that you can then share those strategies and best practices to move initiatives and movements forward.
Okay. Fancy. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I realized I did not have all of Brandon's information here. I want to make certain that everybody can connect with him. I think pretty much everybody knows the Black Man Can now, because everybody's always sharing the images, and you see the reposts. And congratulations on your 10 years, because I don't know if you remember this, but we actually started about at the same time. Mm-hmm. So like just really seeing you take off and just feel like, oh, that's Brandon. I remember him from when, and then we connected in 2016, and then and then here we are again 4 years later. And it's kind of funny because I mentioned this, like it just seems like it just all kind of keeps coming full circle, how 4 years ago we did the Uplift the Black Man issue, which was really more so in honor of Philando Castile and Alton Sterling, and just kind of just in men, just really wanted to do something for men, and you were a part of that issue. And then here we are now 4 years later, and it's kind of almost like there's a whole nother revolution taking place, so I know I just said a lot, but congrats. But also just like, what do you, especially in light of these times, do you feel, especially as a publisher as well, like, do you feel any type of, I don't know, how do you feel like you're doing enough, almost, I guess is kind of my question, because I know I've kind of discussed as a publisher with other people, or just even having that type of platform, where you're sharing positive images. Do you feel like that's enough right now?
I feel, I guess I struggle with the word enough. I would say that I am very happy and comfortable with the role that the Black Man Can plays, right? And mm-hmm. The work that we do is resistance. The work that we do is the revolution, and that's our role, and the way we play with that and play within that, and being okay with that, because when you get into a place of thinking that you're not doing enough, that's not practicing self-compassion, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to think about what your skills and your abilities are, and then that's the role that you play. If you're a photographer, then you should be capturing the images of this time and sharing those images with the world. If you're a writer, you should be covering the stories and telling the stories of what's going on. If you are an attorney and you can do pro bono work on behalf of protesters and get people bail and all those, whatever your role is, whatever your skill set, whatever your abilities are, that's where you live. And being comfortable with that, because that's also practicing self-compassion, because what it comes down to is we all actually have to do our parts, right? And if we each do our part, whatever that may be, we move things forward. We did a summit for young men last week, and we had, one of the speakers we had was Dr. Wes Bellamy, and he's in Charlottesville, Virginia, and he's the reason. Everything that happened in Charlottesville like 3 years ago, he's the reason why that took place, right? He's the one who turned his anger and frustration into into movements and policy, right? But when you listen to him, you read his book, or you talk to him, he's going to tell you how they called bomb threats on his house, at his school. He's going to talk about how he had to have police detail, because they were threatening his life, right? So like that's why I get into like not doing enough, because like, well, you can choose to be Wes and lead in that way and deal with what may come with that. you can decide to be a photographer. You know what I'm saying? Whatever your skills and abilities are, and being comfortable with that. And then that's a form of self-compassion and self-care. And I think that that's really important and needed in this time.
Wow.
I know.
But I was gonna say, because it's funny that you said that, because even when I saw another publisher kind of talking about it, that is basically what they said. You know, use the gifts or your skills that you have, like work with that. And then even as you said it, it made me think about, well, that's how that issue came about. You know, in 2016, just feeling like that's all that I could do was right. But also, Dr. West was in that issue as well before he was Dr. West. So, but I haven't seen him lately online. But you know, I know his work, so I'm pretty certain, you know, that everything that has happened like in the past year or so, you know, that I know that he's doing great things, basically. But I was also curious, would you say that was there a particular Black male within your life that you saw as a role model? Or, you know, what was I don't know, I don't want to pry, but I don't think I've ever asked you, you know, what your relationship was like with your dad.
Me and my dad have a great relationship. And you know, we're season ticket holders to America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, and you know, I was in his wedding and everything like that. So we're great. Growing up, I mean, Terrell Hill, who's in Connecticut, has been instrumental in my life, and Coach Ken Smith. There's been men who have definitely poured into me over time that have allowed for me to be successful. And you know, I just took that time to listen to them and hear the words of wisdom that they had, and then try to apply that in my life.
I don't know if you see me, but I was like, okay, America's team.
That's where it's at. I mean, I think also too, to your
who that
to the point around not or doing enough. I think if anything, one thing that we have done and we will continue to do, because we are an organization that is focused on Black men, and we take that we really hold the space for Black men to be highlighted and celebrated, is to make sure that we acknowledge the privilege that we have as men. Like, while we're not white men, we still are men, and so we do get to benefit from privilege. And so with that, it's important that we honor, salute, celebrate, acknowledge, and stand in the gap with Black women and girls, and making sure that we do that in words, action, and deeds. I think that that's really important, that we do that, and we be an example for that, you know, for other Black men to do the same.
And that's really important.
Yes, because that's what we were talking a little bit about in our news today. The young lady, Fancy gonna kill me on this name, Torian. That we found out that's part of her name. A lot of people were calling for men, you know, Black men. We need y'all protection. We need y'all to stand in the gap for us. We need your support. We need these different things. And I know with that story, a lot of people was calling on that. What do you think? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very true. I think that the big aspect with that is in the work that we really have to do is around holding men accountable, right? Like when you think about, you know, Me Too, right? Which does encompass all women, especially Black women. The reason why Me Too even exists is because men don't hold other men accountable, right? Like we know men who do fuck shit. There are men around that know that person does what they do, but don't hold them accountable, right? And so it's very important that we hold men accountable for the wrong that they do, and we can't shy away from it. We can't seem like, oh, you know, I mean, I don't want to. We can't worry about our own insecurities that may hold us back from doing that. We have to speak up. We have to say something. It's kind of like, so I ride the New York subway, right? And that's where I live. And it's always like, if you see something, say something. You know, they always talk about that on the subway, right? That is what we need to apply as men to other men. You see something, you say something. You can't remain quiet. I think the biggest thing, and so when we do this advocating for Black women is so important, because once you do it and you really understand it, like it's the same thing that you're asking of white people, right? You're asking white people to stand in the gap and to honor, salute the celebrations, celebrate the voices of Black people. And then if you really think about that, like it's a it's double strike against the Black woman, like because now you're Black and you're a woman, so there is the gender issue that take place as well. Plus, you know, being Black, right? And so like if when men, what big thing is like when you read an article or like we posted something for the young lady in Tallahassee, and there were men who commented and was like, yo, we don't know if that's a Black man that did it yet. You know, just all the rebuttals, right? And I was like, when you do that, you sound just like a white person when they're like, well, I'm not like that, or you know, I don't, you know, you sound the same way, and so that's how, and that's also that's how you know you have privilege, right? Which is why it's important to acknowledge that because you sound just, it's the same thing. The rhetoric is the same way, and that's why it's important for us to acknowledge that. And when you read an article or you see something and it makes you feel some type of way, right? That's usually because you probably have committed the behavior at some point, place, and time, right? And you're like, oh shoot, like damn, that just checked me. But instead of saying, oh, it just checked me, you get defensive, and that's when you have to then acknowledge that and then make a shift in your thinking and then follow that with action.
That was a lot.
I just want to like just everything you just said. Like Black men need to hear all of that, and not just, you know. And it's not a blame game, you know, because there's so many people like, oh, now, like you said, now isn't the time for that. But what you said, oh my God, it was just so profound to me. I don't know, you know, how you go over there, but like my heart was just like. And I guess I should have been taking notes, you know.
You know, it's not you know, it's not really taking notes. I think it's just, you know, we really have to. That's how we have to do better. And I think there's lots of men that do. And so like, you know, one thing that we're launching, you know, at the Black Man Can is we're launching this new like engagement thing, you know, called the Gentleman's Inbox, where we're going to be sharing stories like that. You know, stories of how men have stood in the gap for Black women, because I think part of it is the stories aren't necessarily shared. Like I think a good amount of Black women may have a positive story of how a Black man stood in the gap with her or held her down or supported her or whatever it may be. And so we need to amplify those stories as well. Like for example, there's several pages that I follow on Instagram. And one of the pages is definitely a very popular page, and they probably have a significant amount of women followers, right? And so I'm thinking about some of the amazing and positive stories that exist around Black men and how they are there loving and marrying and committing to and standing in the gap with Black women. But this one post that they posted, you know, it was this guy, and he posted, he said, it goes, 2 years talking, 3 years in a relationship, 2 years engaged, and then get married, right? And that's 12 years a slave. Like no woman, no woman should be in some sort of situation like that, right? But that's the story. That's what they posted, and they got mad comments and stuff like that. But what you actually did was amplify a story, a narrative from a Black man who got it backwards, which then contributes to the narrative that this is how Black men think, or this is what Black men are doing, when we have so many stories of, no, I met this woman, I DM'd this woman, we started dating, in 6 months we got engaged, and now we married. And those are the stories we have to continue to amplify and showcase so that they can be the example and be the norm.
I totally get it, because I know we see more stories of women saying that men, once they get wait, how Kanye say, once he get rich, he leave you for a white chick. You know, we hear more and more of that, and more of how Black men don't. That's why I love your page so much, because it's so much more and more on how Black men don't love Black women, how they don't protect us, how they don't showcase us, how they don't see us as a trophy. You know, and how we had a guest on, he was saying that sometimes they see us as their mother, and this Black woman as their mother, and the things that she's saying, the things that she's doing. So they go out to somebody else, and we want to feel protected. We want to feel loved. We want those things. But it almost feels like, especially a successful Black woman, it almost feels like she cannot find a Black man that's going to love her, because so many times he's in competition with her, or he's mad that she got what she has. And let me calm down.
So I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying, and I've sat in circles where men have said maybe those things, like I think any woman who is progressing and moving forward may have heard at one point in time that a man in either actions, words, or something, it came across that he was intimidated, right? Or maybe your success spoke to his insecurities because he sees you as, having it all together, right? Even though you're just figuring it out like everybody else, right? And so therefore it causes him to be, his insecurities come out, or he feels like, I can't provide or be what society has told me I need to be, right? So first, that's why it's important for men to learn and understand what it means to be self-sufficient, because once you're self-sufficient, you start to see a woman not for what she can do for you. And I think a lot of times we get too caught in like, well, what can she do for me? That's how I value her, when her value doesn't come from what she can do for me. That's one piece. The second piece to that is with the work that we're doing with our young men, and we think about the next generation, right? And so one thing that we do with the Black Man Can and some of the work is that with our young men's groups, we don't just focus on making sure that Black boys meet highly successful or just successful Black men in all walks, from barbers to lawyers, and from doctors to janitors, right? The success looks a lot different, right? But but it's not just about meeting all these different Black men who have had success in their lives. What is actually equally important is that they, as early as middle school, encounter, interact with, and see successful Black women, right? So in 6th grade, when we did a survey, and boys, when you said entrepreneur, CEO, president, and not even like president of the United States, just the word president, right? When you ask them what gender they associate that with, they say male, right? And so it's starting in middle school, even earlier, but we start with middle school. If we start putting Black women who are publisher, anchor, CEO, entrepreneur in front of our boys, they now first in turn see that this is what Black women are doing with their lives. This is what they will become. Because now in turn, they also see their peers, the same girls that they're in class with in middle school, like, oh, this is who Fancy's gonna be, when I'm not objectifying her or see her for this sexual, being. I'm gonna see her for the president that she's gonna become. I'm gonna see her for the CEO that she's gonna become. And then I know that becomes the norm. So now when I'm older, that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I expect, as opposed to the idea that that person is doing too much, or I'm insecure, or they're intimidating. But that's because I learned at an early age, this is the norm. This is what Black women are supposed to be doing. As a matter of fact, like if not, like what how can I help you get there? Because I know this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is where you're supposed to be at and supposed to be accomplishing. But that work starts at a really early age. And so anybody that's doing boys groups, when you bring boys together, you have to take the time, again, to celebrate, honor, salute, and showcase these amazing Black women, so that it becomes the norm. And it's not just the only Black women they know are their teachers and their moms, right? But the women who are excelling in life, like, again, because that's who they know that their peers will become, and it just becomes a normal thought process for them.
Do you have something?
No, look like you have something.
Oh, well, look, again, I'm just really taken by all of what you said. And, even I think we've discussed, we've talked before in the past, but I don't know, maybe it's just like, having a conversation again, how much you've reminded me of, just little things. And I'm like, Brandon really know his shit, for one, but also just like how to tie it all together, because even when we've talked in the past, we've talked about your initiatives. I've been following the page, and now I'm just kind of better understanding, like what it is that you're doing, how you're setting, these, I don't know, I almost want to say like the presets or the helping to set the right mindset for these young men. You know, like a lot of times we just look at it like, oh, okay, they're doing this or they're doing that, but not really just really seeing that. Even the fact that you mentioned that success looks differently for each individual. So don't just show them, you know, the $1 trillion, $1 billion person or whatever, you know, also show them the janitor, you know, let them see the significance of what it is that that person does as well. So
right.
I really do applaud you. And I guess it's like I have a whole nother new admiration for you now that we, you know, revisited the conversation in a lot of ways. And also I just want to know, I don't want you to think, I don't think you're doing enough. Or even, you know, and I know we just talked about that enough, but I was just kind of curious because, you know, I've mentioned this before, like, especially when times get really tense like this, I wonder about the things that we post. You know, I wonder if it's okay to still be trying to, like, normally whenever I do a morning post, it's going to say, you know, happy whatever. And I don't know if anybody really noticed, but for several weeks, we stopped with the happy, you know, I was like, man, I don't know, you know, like, should I even really say that? I might have been happy in that moment myself, but I know that other people, you know, that just wasn't what the whole vibe of the community was, I guess you'd say. So that's why I asked that question. I just wanted to make certain you understood that, you know.
No, absolutely. I'm all up. I'm all in on swag her and everything that you are doing. I'm working hard so that when you do the next mail cover, you know, mega edition, I'm on the cover. That's what there's certain things that are really cool in life, and being on the cover of a magazine, those are cool things. Like, I don't care what anybody say. There's certain things like, you know, what, like, nah. Like, you get the cover of a magazine. So I'm just working hard to, you know, keep. So the next mail cover, I'm gonna make the cover. So, you know, that's a goal. That's like a goal in life.
Damn.
Really, and the fact that you're actually saying that, because I even post about how men don't seem to value media the same way, you know. So a cover can just be. But I remember like you sharing like something about your mom or something, you know, when those issues came out. So I do appreciate all, you know, all the ways that you supported us in the past, and just, yeah, I just, you know, I just be excited to know you, but now even more so, just better understanding what you do, and maybe it's an enlightening for me, you know. But I'm just like, you know what, like, you're really doing great things, you know.
Well, I'm happy to have met you and hear of all the amazing things that you're doing. And I totally agree. If we start showing them images at a young age, then they grow up and see that that's the norm, and want to help build and want to help, you know, support and be in that in that arena, you know. And I too is like, Fancy, you know, everybody, I always tell people, your success is not my success. How I see it is how, you know, may not be how you see it. I actually had a conversation with my niece today, and I told her, if you don't go to college, you don't have to go to college. For me, I wanted a degree. That's what I see. There's a saying, and it says, I knew what type of woman I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I knew what type of woman I wanted to be. And when I knew what type of woman, I knew what it looked like. And everybody's success, what they're looking at, doesn't look the same. And that we need people at different levels. So that doesn't mean that she's less than. It just means that we have a different route to get to where we want to go and the things that we want. So I think that is so impressive. And thank you for that. Wrapping up, is there anything, unless you had something else, Fancy?
No, I was going to ask the same thing. If you had anything else you wanted to share, or current projects that you're working on.
Right.
I mean, I'm just trying to find time to do stuff at this point now. So, I mean, I have a full-time job outside of the Black Man Can, and then I'm also a student. So yeah, my time is really all over the place. But in regards to the Black Man Can, you know, we launched our merchandise. So I'm really excited for the success that we've seen thus far, and we have a lot of plans on how to do that. We're already in the process of planning the Black Man Can Awards for next year. So excited about that. And some other events and different things that we have going on. Releasing some new content. So, I mean, we're kind of like all over the place, but we have a strategy. It's all over the place, but definitely a strategy in terms of, you know, how we just kind of continue to push the movement and showcasing what Black men and boys can do. And by July 1st, we'll probably relaunch the blackmencan.com, and it'll be like a full-fledged news site. And then we have the .org, which is the nonprofit. So we got a lot of things that we're working on. I'm excited about our growth and our potential, and just making sure that we trust God's timing on that. I think a lot of times, we want certain things like tomorrow. It's a natural habit for everybody. But I think since I've been maybe 28, 29, I'm 32 now, but I've really got to a place of not leaning on my own understanding, and it's really leaving it to God. It's kind of like a 3-prong approach. It's like a righteous man's steps are ordered by the Lord. Faith without work is dead, and you walk by faith and not by sight. And when you put that together, right? If I know and internalize, if I'm not leaning on my own understanding, which I don't do, if I know that my steps are ordered, so if my steps are ordered, then I have to walk by faith and not by sight. And if I do that, and I keep faith without work is dead, so I do the work, then that means that everything that's supposed to happen will happen, because it's already decided. Like where I'm gonna be in 5 years, God already know. He got it laid out for me. All I have to do is do the work, and who knows what blessing. So I don't really try to plan. I strategize. I don't plan, because when you plan, God laughs. And so I just try to put strategy, do some work, do the work, and then the blessings just flow. And I'm just grateful, and I say I'm grateful, and I praise His name as they come, for the ones that I can see and I can't see, and that's kind of how I live my life.
I love that. I'm gonna write that out somewhere and place that in my house, because I think I really need that.
Well, that is true. I mean, we can plan, or we can, strategize it, but it's only until it's His time. And then so many times we want it now. I want it now. This that microwave society. That's why I don't have a microwave in my house. You're gonna have to wait on the oven. No, I'm serious. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, Brandon. We really, truly appreciate you. So I guess this is your 3rd time with Swagger, and once with me, and once with Theories and Thoughts. And I'm sure we'll have you back on to talk about something that you got going on.
Well, listen, it was an honor. It's always an honor to be in the presence of phenomenal Black women. I love Theories and Thoughts. I love Swag Her. I'm just a fan. And like I said, any way that I can be supportive, any way that the Black Men can be supportive, please don't hesitate to send an email, a text message, whatever it may be. I want to be supportive in any way possible.
Same here. Let us know.
You're welcome.
I'm speaking for you, fans. I'm like, same here.
Same here. He already looks. I feel like Brandon is family. I don't know how he feels, but yeah. So yeah. Well, all right then.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
That was good.
Yeah, and I still feel like I almost rushed him off. I don't be meaning to do that to y'all. I just be so like, oh gosh.
You're like, something that I love that he said, because I have this problem with these people telling me I'm Miss Independent. He said your success speaks to his insecurities. Woo! I don't know if you heard me typing over here. I was like, yes, God, that part right there, that one right there. But that was a great conversation, especially about the Black Man Can, because I didn't know all those things about the Black Man Can. I didn't know it had so many initiatives, and I love that he's going to have the award ceremony next year. That's really going to, have men step up and feel honored for doing just what they usually doing. What they know to do is right. So.
I'm sorry. I am just looking at something I noticed within one of the links. But I also want to say, I think that they've done the awards before. Maybe they did them like last year or something, but I'm not certain. Don't quote me on that. But I think this might be like, it's like an annual thing. However, let me find our second sponsor for the evening. Sometimes these links just, I'll notice something as I'm looking at it, and it just, y'all know how I am. But our second sponsor for the evening is Representative Glanisha Neal. If you have a smart TV and internet service, you'd like to check out this Black-owned streaming service that Glanisha represents. So you can start your free trial by contacting her on Instagram at Neal Glanisha, and that's NealGlenicia. So you all can check out Miss Neal, let her know that Theories and Thoughts or Swagger Magazine or Lady CEO sent you, and just mention the fact that you like to move forward with the Black-owned streaming service. I'm sorry that we don't actually have the whole name for that, but that's that. And then we have our tumblers, which are on sale on the swagger.net website, and you all can visit the products page, and there's the link there. But it's basically swagger.net / product, and you can pull up everything from there. Then also, I feel like I'm just running out of list. Y'all, sorry, I got you.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
So Swagger Magazine is still running our special on our Black-owned business directory, which we call our BOB directory. So you can list your business for a year for only $90. So that's actually like a $30 discount because it's normally $10 per month. So we're giving you 3 free months for that. And it doesn't depend. We have a product or a service. Like, we have sections for all of that, as well as we break the sections down by state, city, and industry, so that you should definitely be able to find whatever it is that you're looking for if you are visiting the directory. If you are interested, then you can email us at advertise@swagger.net. Okay. All right. You ready, Anya?
Yeah, I'm not running down the list like I did last week, but I did want to show y'all one of my shirts from my boutique, Southern Girl with City Dreams. If you follow me, you see that I always say Southern Girl with City Dreams. It actually comes from a song. I ain't going to tell y'all what song because I don't want them to get me for copywriting. However, I feel like I'm a Southern girl with city dreams. They tend to think of New Orleans as the country, and I feel like we're a city. But whenever you have city dreams, it's thought to have big dreams and want to do so much. So that's why I always use that hashtag Southern Girl with City Dreams. You can get this shirt and others at www.missthingsboutique.com. That's where the S's are. It will be Z's. Don't forget, you can follow me at lady.CEO on Instagram. I am on Twitter at I am _a_ lady CEO with the I. Sorry. And on Facebook, I am lady, and then you have to put a space CEO. So that's how you catch up with me. Also, I have a Lady and Her Wine Facebook group. Did I show y'all this last week?
No.
Did I show you this?
You didn't show us that.
A wine glass. This is going into the boutique. But as you sip your wine, you have your wine glass. So we're doing these. And coming soon will be journals. I don't know if you can see it, but it changes.
You did show, I don't know if you showed that one on the podcast, but I did see the journal.
Mm-hmm. So so make sure y'all go to my website. Make sure you go to Swagger's Max website, and you guys just keep supporting. Thank you so much. Let us know how we can support you. If you're ever thinking about possibly being a sponsor, remember, we're always looking for sponsors for each episode. You can contact me at Arnya, ARNYA, at ladyceo.com, and I can give you all that information. All right.
All right.
Anything else, fans?
Nope, that's it. See y'all next week.
Bye.